Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to this reading vlog. In case you missed the title or the thumbnail, this is my one warning to people who hate snakes. My pet snake will be making plenty of appearances throughout this video, but if that is you, and if you are iffy about snakes, I think you should stick around and just give him a little bit of a chance. He's a Western hognose, so they have that like chubby little cheeks and they have a dumb goofy grin on their face all the time. They're pretty small. I honestly believe that even if you hate 99.9% of snakes, if there is only one snake on the entire planet that you'll love, that one snake would be a hognose. So that's my one warning. Welcome to everybody who's sticking around. Without further ado, let me introduce you to my co-host, the guest of honor, the birthday boy himself. This is Fossil. The camera is not going to do a good job at focusing on you, even though you are the star of the show today. If you're familiar with hognose morphs, he is a xanthic. If you're unfamiliar, this species is usually brown, but he has a gene that reduces the red and yellow pigment, so it makes him kind of grayscale. He is 2 years old as of this week. He is still fairly small, even for a male, but some hognoses just grow really slowly, and he is perfectly healthy, so it's okay that he's taking his time. Now, this video is primarily a reading vlog, and I'm going to get to my TBR in a minute, but I really wanted to lean into the theme. The books are all going to be snake related. I want Fossil to be making lots of appearances, and Fossil doesn't get to be in many videos, so I really wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to just have him around a lot. This is something he likes doing sometimes. I just like cup my hands a little bit, like very loosely, as you can see. And he crawls in and pretends he's in a little cave or something, I guess. And then he just sticks his head out and rests it on my finger. He's all curled up and comfy. So my game plan for this vlog, I'll obviously be reading, talking about the books and stuff, but I have to clean out his enclosure and I was going to do some redecorating for him. So I think I will film that to give you guys a little bit of a tour of his home. I kind of want to come up with like a fun snake fact for each book, or maybe like a fossil themed fun fact. That probably sounds really dorky, but I think it would be really fun. Okay, bye, Fossil. Goodbye. You need a break? Okay, the star will be in his dressing room if anyone needs him. Oh, you're coming back! Hi, Fossil, welcome back! Did you get lonely in there? So, on to my TBR for this video. I have 4 options to choose from. 3 of them are physical books that I bought, and then one of them is an audiobook that I got from the library. Alright, Fossil has decided he wants to explore my pocket, so that's fine. I guess I'll show you the books while I have a free hand. I don't know if I'll get to all 4, but I want to try. I'll show them off real quick, but I'll get deeper into like what they're about once I actually start reading them. First is one that I showed off in my May TBR, and that is A Snake Falls to Earth by Darcie Little Badger. From what I understand, this is an indigenous magical realism story. I'm trying to go in without knowing much, but from what I do know, we have one character who is a leaping girl in our world, and the other character is a snake spirit. So I'm in. The audiobook I got from the library is Stoneblind by Natalie Hayes. This is a story about Medusa. On one hand, most Medusa stories aren't that snake focused. It's really just she became a monster so she had to look scary so her hair turned into snakes. And the snakes are really just a hairstyle and maybe a little bit of a metaphor. But she is still a snake icon, so it would be wrong to leave her out. My next option is Girl, Serpent, Thorn by Melissa Bashardoust. I don't actually know how snaky this one is. It might just be snake vibes. But it says Serpent in the title and there's a snake on the cover, and I liked the last book I read by this author, so I'm intrigued to pick it up. This is inspired by Persian mythology, Rappaccini's daughter, and Sleeping Beauty. Our main character is a princess whose touch is poisonous, so she's hidden away deep in the castle. You know how it goes. But one day a prisoner is brought to the dungeon, a demon who might have some knowledge that would help her. So now she has to decide if she wants to meet with this demon and see if there is a way to remove her curse, or continue living in hiding, doing what she's told, etc. What more do you need? And the 4th and final option I have is A Drop of Venom by Sajni Patel. The first line of the description says it's a feminist retelling of the Medusa myth steeped in Indian mythology. Sold. This is the second Medusa-inspired book on this list, but from what it seems, I think it's going to be more deviated from the typical Medusa story that I know. Like, I feel like this is more of a reimagining than a retelling. And my specific motivation is that I know that snakes have an important role in Indian mythology and culture, and I really wanted to read an Indian-inspired snake story, so this ticks those boxes. Also, it is just freaking gorgeous. I'm really excited for all of those options. I'm going to start reading here in a minute, but I have to decide which book to start with. I think I'd like to save the audiobook for when I specifically need an audiobook. I think I'm going to read physically for a few hours today. So I think it'd be fun if we let Fossil pick the first book, let the birthday boy decide. So I think I'm going to show him all 3 books and see if he seems interested in any of them. It's okay, come on out. Come on out, Fossil. Hi, hello. It's okay, I know. Were you comfy? I think he was ready for a nap. That's okay. How about this? You'll help me pick a book and then you can go home for a nap. Alright, Fossil, which one do you want? Oh. So it looked like Fossil was most interested in Girl Serpent Thorn, which I am not at all surprised about. I'll explain later. But I am going to read now for a little bit, and I'm going to put him back in his enclosure. You are a very good co-host, Mr. Fossil. You did a very good job, and I'm very proud of you. And then I will check in with you guys in a little bit. Say bye, Fossil. Alright, I've been reading for a little bit, enjoying it so far. We've met the Princess Soraya, the one with the poisonous touch. The royal family travels to a couple of different, homes throughout the kingdom or whatever. She stays at, I guess, their main home, or it's her only home, but you know what I mean. And her family is now coming back to this home, and she has learned the news that her brother is getting married to their childhood mutual best friend. It was always the 3 of them. Her twin brother, and then this friend. And that's kind of the setup. I like that it doesn't seem like her family, hate her or, lock her up in the tower or anything. It's just for safety's sake. It's best that she stays at this place, and they don't want the secret of her power coming out. But it's not like she's a secret that she exists. So I like that. I was curious how that dynamic was going to be. I had 2 main thoughts so far that I wanted to share. One, I think this might be gay. I don't know. I haven't looked into it, and I think that if it is, I want it to be a surprise. But when she mentions the childhood best friend that's marrying her brother, she mentions that she used to say that, she wished that her and the best friend could have gotten married, and how, it was laughed off as, a joke. As a lesbian, I feel like we've all made that joke to our straight friends. I'm like, oh man, wouldn't it be funny if, we could get married? Not like any of us like girls, because, obviously we don't like girls, but, if we did, wouldn't it be cool if, we could get married? Haha. And maybe this is just... maybe I'm reading into it, but... we also met who I'm worried might be the love interest. A male love interest. A little part of me thinks he might be the villain. That's not a spoiler, I don't know, we've barely met him. Like I said, I'm on chapter 3, we've met him twice. This is our second interaction with him, so I don't know anything, but he shows up with the family's entourage or whatever, and they catch each other's eye from a distance, and then when she's in trouble later, not in trouble, but she's in a crowded place and she's trying to get out, and she's not used to crowded places because obviously she tries to be hidden away and stuff. And then it's just too crowded and she starts panicking, and then he appears and he helps her, part the crowd so that she can get away. Which doesn't sound sinister on its own. It sounds like a very typical YA love interest setup. But I don't know. There's just something about him. I'm like, are you secretly the villain? Is that what this is going to be? And maybe it's because I just want it to be gay, and because it's so obviously setting him up as a potential love interest. I don't know. I'm getting vibes. And the worst part for you, if you haven't read this book, is I'm not even going to tell you if I'm right or wrong when I find out, because obviously that answer is a spoiler. Right now, I've met him twice. So these thoughts aren't spoilers, but the answer would be. So I'm sorry, I guess. Although, he almost won me over with one line. Right after that scene where he helps her get away, they're talking, and she asks how he knows who she is, because she's not a secret, her existence isn't a secret, but she doesn't make public appearances, she never leaves the castle, she's kind of just known as oh, the recluse daughter. And he explains that when he was young, his father was a merchant, so he always brought back stories of the lands and everything. And he always heard the story about this mysterious princess who was hidden away in this castle, and he always wondered, what she looked like, what she sounded like, who she was, why she was hidden away. And then he ends it with the line, "So that's how I knew you, because you've always been my favorite story." Oh, damn it. And maybe it's just the book nerd in me, but I'm like, that would have worked on me. That would have worked. I am enjoying it so far though, but I mentioned before I started reading that I was not at all surprised that Fossil picked this book. So I'm going to explain that in the first Fossil fun fact and snake fun fact, actually. It's going to be a 2-in-1. So as you can see, the cover has this beautiful snake and pink flowers. So my Fossil fun fact is that pink flowers are Fossil's favorite thing. I have some big flowers, fake flowers, in his enclosure. I'll show them when I clean his cage later and do his redecorating. But he always has big flowers just as something to hide under, a little bit of enrichment, something to make it feel a little bit natural to him even though they're fake flowers. And he had a bunch of other colors, but he would always gravitate to the pink ones. Even if I put other colors in there, he is always going straight to the pink ones. So now almost all of his flowers are pink because as the other ones, get old or get dirty, I just don't replace them with anything other than pink flowers, apparently. So a cover with pink flowers, of course Fossil would pick that. But my theory for why he loves the pink ones so much leads into my snake fun fact, and that is that snakes can't see the color red. I think this goes for all species of snakes. If not, it's most species of snakes, but they're colorblind to the color red. Although, I'm going to get on my snake owner soapbox for just a second. That does not mean you can use a red bulb in their enclosure. Obviously, snake enclosure needs a heat source because they can't produce their own body heat. So it's usually a heat lamp, often at the top of their cage, like Fossil's just sits on top of his cage. So it's a light and it's a heat source. It kind of mimics the sun. And it's meant to be turned off at night to kind of give them a day-night cycle. A surprisingly common practice is to have a red light bulb for the nighttime because the snake can't see it. They're colorblind. They can still see the light. What are you talking about? And this isn't just a few dumbasses on Reddit that decided to start a rumor. This has been a snake tip forever. High-end snake companies specifically make red bulbs for their heat lamps. That's what's sold most commonly in pet stores. Why are people so dumb? I'm not saying that everybody that does this is dumb, because maybe you got your first snake when you were young and this is what the expert told you and you just never questioned it. But the people who initially thought this and the people who still believe this, they can't see the color red. They can still see the light. If you're red colorblind, it doesn't mean red things are just invisible. You just can't necessarily tell that it's red. What do you mean they can't see the red light? Yes, they can. If I'm shining a colorful flashlight in the face of somebody who is colorblind, that's still a light being shined in their face. So anyways, don't use red lamps on your reptiles. Unless for some reason you want to use a red lamp, it's still a lamp. Anyways, off my soapbox, back to the fun fact. Snakes cannot see the color red, so my theory, because Fossil is a xanthic, right, he's grayscale, a pink flower probably looks gray to him, and he probably thinks that that's where he's the most camouflaged. I don't know, it also just could be he likes it because he likes it, But I'm kind of wondering if a little part of that itty-bitty brain in his head thinks, oh yes, that's the same color as me. I'm gonna go play in that one, and I'm gonna be camouflaged. Even though he's just sitting in a bright pink flower. So those are your first fun facts. That was my first reading update. I'm going to make a quick lunch and read for a little bit longer. I don't think I'll update you again until I'm quite a bit further on in the book, but I'll let you know. Very quick update. It is gay. Not in the way I expected. Even better. And I can't even tell you who the love interest is. But Yes. So I accidentally spent the whole day reading and finished the book. That's my update. I really enjoyed this. I haven't settled on my rating yet. As of right now, it's either an 8.5 or a 9. I have to kind of think about it. I think that I just need a little bit of distance. I find especially when I read a book very quickly, I'm kind of still caught up in the moment right after. So I filled out my little rating sheet. Actually, I'll mention that since I'm here. For plot, I gave it a 4 out of 5. It was a little bit too convenient at times, but also she is a princess with magic powers, so like why wouldn't it be convenient? I would have liked a little bit more difficulty at certain steps. Characters was a 5 out of 5. At first I thought that our main character was a little bit too meek, a little bit too timid, like in a way that was almost frustrating, but she definitely like toughened up exactly when she needed to, and all of her like meekness was very justified, and they did a good job to justify it, I felt like, in the book. It wasn't just, oh, well, she doesn't want to upset anybody, she doesn't want to step on any toes. Like, she knows that if she touches somebody, they will die. So, of course, she has to kind of keep herself subdued and calm at all times, because otherwise there are bigger consequences. And I really thought that those consequences were really, like, well laid out in the book. Like, at one point, there's like, this, like, bully character, and he keeps, like, trying to egg her on, and she backs down. And I'm like, no, like, stand up for yourself. But then I kind of thought, like, you know what, actually? If standing up for yourself is going to escalate the situation where he is going to, you know, like, grab you or something and die, walking away is the right choice, even though I would have punched him in the face. That's just me. I also loved all of the side characters, and I really loved everybody's dynamic with each other. Like, her and the former best friend character, I really loved their dynamic, even though we didn't see a ton of it. It wasn't just, we used to be best friends and then we had a fight and now we just don't talk anymore. Like, it's just, no, she grew up and had to move away, and now she has this life and you are trapped here and you just lost contact, and it's fine. And when you do reunite, it's also fine because you are friends and you do still love each other. Like, I really liked that they didn't try to force some, like, petty argument. Sometimes, especially in YA, they make the relationships just so much more complicated than they need to be. Like, they just throw in miscommunications and arguments just for the sake of conflict. And I felt like this one, there was no unnecessary drama. There was drama, because of course there was, but I just really liked the way that it was all approached. And I loved every single character, and I loved the way that one of the romances went. I'll just leave it at that. I gave the writing a 4. I really liked how clear everything was. I really liked how layered everything was. I thought the use of foreshadowing was really good in this. Like, so many little clues that you look back on later that were really fun. I liked, there was a couple of really good lines. That line about being the favorite story, and it came back into play again later in a really clever way. Like, there was a cool little callback to it, which I absolutely loved. And for enjoyment, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I'm kind of going back and forth between a 4 and a 4.5. Like, did I like it or did I really like it? From the premise and the first couple chapters, it kind of seemed like it was going to be that very typical, like, 2019 YA fantasy vibes. Like, you know? And I was pleasantly surprised. There was a lot of different things I didn't expect, a lot of other elements, a lot of things kind of turned on their head. Even though it was still quite YA, and I would have liked it if it was just a little bit older, a little bit darker, a little bit more mature, I really enjoyed what we got. I think that's all the reading I'm going to do for today, though. I don't think I'm going to start another book right now, because I have been reading all day and there's other things I need to do. But what a great way to start the reading. Hey guys, welcome to Fossil's Enclosure. What do you think? Okay, I'm just kidding, don't worry. I'm in the middle of cleaning it. Also, Fossil is in his baby bin, which is down here under the little table. He's good, he's safe. But I wanted to kind of show you guys what I'm all doing. What I've done so far is clean out all of his old bedding, wipe off all of his flowers, anything that was dirty. I threw out a couple of leaves and stuff that just got poop on them, honestly. I gave everything a quick wipe down. I made sure all the temperature probes and humidity probes are back in place. And now it's time to decorate. For his bedding, he just has aspen shavings. I make sure it's thick enough that he can dig around because hognoses are fossorial, which means that they like to spend a lot of time digging, burrowing, being underground. And in case you're wondering, yes, that is where the inspiration behind his name came from. So I have his water dish. The other thing that he always has is this little terracotta dish. He absolutely loves this. He loves the texture of terracotta. I think every time I give him something that's this texture, he really enjoys it. And it is his favorite thing to just curl up underneath his heat lamp. Oh, goodbye heat lamp. For his birthday, I also got him one size up. I think this is still too big for him, but I'm going to put it in. Like, look at the size difference there. This is currently his favorite house. It's a little hide. It has an exit on either side. I have this piece of wood, some fun textures. It's rough, which he likes sometimes. And then I have this little fake, I think it's supposed to be a crocodile or an alligator, but I like that it doesn't actually have eye holes because as much as I love all of those cool decorations with the eye holes, he's still small enough that he could get in and maybe get stuck. And the teeth aren't sharp, but they're enough that it would be a fun texture for him to rub against. This is an actual fossil, so I just thought that was super cool for him. I'll be honest, I don't remember what it's called. I have it written down, but not on me. But either way, a fossil for fossil. This one is just a cool rock. It has some glowy bits. Don't know what kind of rock it is. This one I usually put under the light because it sparkles a little bit, not that you can tell right now in the camera. This is a little piece of fossilized wood, and again, a fossil for fossil, and it has a little bit of a smell to it. Not a bad smell or anything, but like, it doesn't smell like nothing. So, I don't know, could be interesting enrichment for him. This super expensive, rare, one-of-a-kind, it's a piece of broken sidewalk from near my house. This is the other birthday present I got him. They're little fake rocks with fake bugs on them. They're smooth on one side, but again, it's a nice texture. I don't know, they kind of give me fossil vibes. And then I got this little guy. Isn't he cute? It's like a terracotta type texture, and this is just a little like fake plant on top. And it's spiky but soft. And also look at that cute little face. So this is his little layout so far. And now it is time for the flowers. So there's this like peachy pink one. This is his favorite. He loves digging around through here. It's all like shredded kind of. So I usually put this one on his warm side because it is his favorite spot. And I have a second one that I think I'm going to put kind of near that new terracotta I got him. This is a brand new one. This one he got for his birthday. But I feel like this will be fun to dig in. And look, there's a little bit of other colors on it. There's like a green tinge to it, so you know, that's cool. Maybe I'll put this over here because he does like that corner sometimes, and it kind of gives that a little bit more privacy. I also have these just like green leaves and stuff that I tend to just put around. I like that they're a bit stiffer. So I'll put some back here, but I don't want to put it too close to the door so it doesn't get stuck. I don't want to cover up the thermometer probe. Maybe I'll try to like plant it in the corner. Have this one here. This one's white and pink. So, you know, look at those options. We have so much variety. A few little ones around there. This one can go right here. This is a slightly newer, slightly pinker version of his old favorite flower. Put it right here. I like having some around his water just so that, I don't know, if he's feeling anxious but thirsty, he doesn't have to choose between safety and comfort. That one can go here. This little one can go right here. Maybe this one can go over here. And then here's just a few extra little leaves. I'll put that up there. This on the other side of this one. This one, if I kind of wedge in there. There we go. Kind of gives them a little bit of covering over here. I want one more flower for this side. Maybe a smaller one. Maybe one of these ones. Yeah, that'll be fun for him. So here is the final tour. Lots and lots of hiding places. Honestly, might have overdone it a little bit with the flowers, but that's okay. It's his birthday, and they're his favorite thing. Alright, here he's Fossil again. Alright, Fossil. Where do you want to go? In through your tunnel? Oh, fun. Alright, goodbye. Have fun exploring. Hello again. Another little reading update. I started reading A Snake Falls to Earth before bed last night. I only read like 20 or 30 pages before I get sleepy, but I started reading some more today, and I am now about 150 pages in. The book is only like 400 pages, so I'm getting close to the halfway point. I am friggin' obsessed. I adore this book so far. We're following 2 different POVs, and at this point, like I said, I'm almost halfway, and they haven't converged yet, but things are getting tense for both storylines, so I have a feeling that they're going to converge soon. I love both worlds, and I really didn't expect to. I kind of had a feeling I would love the spirit world, like with all of the different animal spirits, and there's like monsters and stuff, because that's obviously just like so compelling and interesting. The animal spirits are done so well. Like, you can tell that there's genuine like care and respect put into these characters. And Ollie, our snake spirit, he is just such a little sweetheart. I love him. I would protect him with my life. One of my first impressions, you can tell that the author put so much care into making the animal spirits true to the animal, not the human perception of the animal, if that makes sense. Like, snakes are often depicted as being bad or sneaky, aggressive, violent, like conniving. That's not snakes. For the vast majority of snakes, they're dumb as rocks. Like, I like to say that Fossil has 1 brain cell and he's saving it for a special occasion. Unless we're talking like a reticulated python, because then, okay, yes, like retics are scary smart. Like, it's impressive. Ollie feels so much like a real snake. He has horrible anxiety. He is so scared of everything. His first instinct is to run and hide, because that's what snakes do. Like, people always think, oh, well, a snake just jumped out of nowhere and bit me. Well, probably not. You probably didn't see it because they hide, and then you got too close and it thought you were going to eat it, so it bit you, because that is their only defense. Snakes get a bad rap for being aggressive. Snakes are not aggressive. Snakes are defensive. There's a very clear difference. They don't go seeking out trouble. I mean, like, personality-wise, I'm sure there are some snakes that do. But in general, most snakes, they're just scared little babies, okay? And Ollie is the scaredest little baby. As a snake owner and as somebody who knows a lot about snakes, he feels so authentic to what a snake actually is. Even down to the little things. Like, he has horrible eyesight because snakes don't have good eyesight, and he even specifies how he doesn't make out shapes and details very well. It's more about like movement and like things really up close, which is how snakes' eyes actually work. And when he's looking around for things, when he's like trying to find something, he'll talk about how he like tastes it in the air. Like, so many little things that you can tell the author wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna make this character and I'll just decide they're, I don't know, a snake spirit. Like, you can tell that there is care and attention put into everything, and I love it. It is done immaculately. And I was worried that that would make it hard to enjoy Nina's point of view, the human girl in the real world, because she's a human and it's the real world, and you know. There was a really compelling Ollie scene, and right after we switched back to Nina for the next chapter, and I was like, okay, there's no way I'm gonna enjoy this nearly as much. Like, I at least hope that the Nina scenes are fast-paced so I can get through them quickly and get back to Ollie. And the next scene with Nina was her describing furries to her grandmother. For context, she's trying to ask her grandmother about, like, animal people and stuff, because she knows the stories and she knows that, you know, that's long ago, they're not around anymore, etc. And she's asking her grandmother, like, what the animal people were like what did they look like, were they half animal, half person? And at one point she asks, are they like furries? And her grandmother, for some reason, has no idea what a furry is. So Nina has to look it up. I think she's like 15 or 16 in that scene, I don't remember. We're following her kind of throughout her life, and there's like big time skips. So she's like a young teenager. So she's looking up pictures of furries on her phone and finding a G-rated one to show her grandmother to explain what it is. It is so funny. Like, I'm very pleasantly surprised that the real world segments are so enjoyable I love Nina so much more than I expected to. She is so great. She is such a great character. So I'm absolutely loving this. I'm going to continue reading. I just wanted to check in now because I have a feeling that the two stories are probably going to converge at the midpoint. And like I said, I'm almost halfway through the book, so I'm expecting that to happen soon. So I wanted to get my first thoughts out on the first half of the book now, before I get to the halfway point and shit probably hits the fan. Do you ever finish a book and then immediately want to reread it? Because this is one of those books for me. I finished it last night and I just want to like start all over and do it all over again. I adored this. I had an amazing time. I had an amazing adventure with these characters. This was exactly what I wanted and more. There's something that happens towards the end. Like this is at like the 90% mark or something like that. The paragraph right before, something kind of nice happened. And I was already looking at my sticky tabs, deciding which color, because I have green for things I like, and then I have blue for things that were like writing or character specific. And I was thinking in my head, well, should it be a green one because I liked that so much? Or because it's such a nice character moment or a nice moment for the character, should it be blue? And I was thinking that in the back of my head and I was smiling, and then like 2 paragraphs later, something bad happens and I gasped out loud and I said out loud, no, 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 no. And I was just so like, what? Why? What happened? And then I like read very quickly, like almost skimmed the next page and a half to try to figure out like, is everybody okay? What's going on? And then I backtracked and like read properly for those scenes because I didn't want to miss any moments or any details. But I just had such a like panicked reaction that something bad happened to somebody that I love. And that's not going to give it away because I love everybody. I haven't figured out my rating yet. It's going to be close to a 10. If it's not a 10, it's going to be really, really close. The plot is the only thing that I'm not head over heels in love with. I like the overall storyline, but some of the human aspects I just wasn't as interested in. Like there's this, it's called Storyteller. It's with a 0 and a couple of 1s instead of an O and the L. And Nina kind of uses it like a personal diary. It's set to private, but it is a social media platform. It was convenient for certain like explanations. Like I understood why we had that subplot. I just wasn't as interested in it as someone who's not really into social media and who was mostly here for the animal vibes and the nature vibes and all of that stuff. Human technology, social media just wasn't quite hitting it for me. I think it did a good job of being on the back burner though until it was needed. Like it wasn't taking over too many things, and when it was needed, it was woven in with everything nicely. So it's not that I disliked it, but plot might be a 4, not a 5. Characters would definitely be a 5. Writing would definitely be a 5. I loved the writing style, I loved the voice, and I loved how, since the two characters' worlds were so different and how they as people were so different, I loved that the point of view sounded so different. Ollie's point of view is written in first person and it very much sounds like Ollie's voice. Like it's very distinct and you can really tell it's Ollie. And Nina's point of view is third person and a little bit more like straightforward, but it was still Nina. Even the chapter titles, Nina's chapters always started with Nina, age whatever, or Nina, 3 days before landfall, things like that. And Ollie's chapters were like Cottonmouth meets a toad, or Cottonmouth and Coyote do this. They were both so different, but neither one felt out of place. Like they both fit perfectly together in a story that they are sharing. And I just loved it. The way that everything was chosen was perfect. I kind of went on a bit of a tangent there, but writing, 5 out of 5. And enjoyment has to be a 5 out of 5. Like, I loved it. So, it's probably a 9.5, but it might get a bonus point for the snake rep, because that was something that was so specifically perfect for me. If you're a fan of snakes, or if you have a snake, if you care a lot about snakes, their personalities, stuff like that, check out this book. You should check out this book anyways, but specifically, if you're like me in those ways, this is an underlined recommendation. The problem that I'm running into now is that I really want to read A Drop of Venom, but I am running out of time for the vlog. Today's Wednesday. I have to leave for work in about an hour and a half, and then I work until 10 o'clock. Tomorrow I work 2 to 10, and that's Thursday, and this video has to come out on Friday. So I don't think I'm going to have time to finish this. But if I read for like an hour and a half now, and I read some more when I get home from work tonight, I could film the outro before work tomorrow morning and give you my thoughts so far on this, because I can't wait any longer, and then I'll just have to edit the video Thursday night when I get home from work at 10:30, even though I have an early shift Friday morning. But I think that's the best I can do, because I don't want to just end it now, because I really, really want to read this book and I really want to share my thoughts. So I think that's what I'll do. I did already start editing some of the first clips of this vlog, so hopefully I didn't push it too last minute, but I was just having too much fun. This is why I'm not good at filming reading vlogs, because I just always want to keep reading more, and then I run out of time. I have to film a reading vlog like 3 or 4 weeks in advance of when it's going to come out. That's what I should be doing. But anyways, like I said, I'm running out of time, so stop yapping, start reading. The angle has changed because I just set up the camera again. I realized I completely forgot to share my snake and fossil fun facts about this book for you guys. I'd already thought of them, I just forgot to actually say it. Ollie is depicted as being super anxious, and he's always like nervous about things attacking him, things getting him. He always wants to run away and hide and stuff. That is very typical of snakes. A hognose's defense mechanism, they have a couple, like they'll squish their heads, puff out their cheeks, hissing, like typical things like that. But the specific hognose defense mechanism is to play dead. Basically what they do is they turn over, like belly up, curl up into a ball, they open up their mouth and stick out their tongue. Like the same way a little kid pretends to be dead, where they just go, eh. That's what a hognose does. They lay down and they go, eh, I'm dead, eh. And if you flip them right way up again, they'll roll themselves over as if like, no, I'm dead, see? Eh. Which completely defeats the purpose. Like, if you are moving into position to pretend to be dead, you're not dead. Like I said, hognoses, super cute, super dumb. But they can even pop a blood vessel in their mouth so that they'll start, like, leaking blood out of their mouth to really, up the theatrics of it. They're not good actors, but they will commit to the bit. And then, unrelated to that, but still related to the book, my fossil fun fact. Ollie goes on quite an adventure. He also has to climb quite a few trees to escape danger. Fossil loves climbing adventures. Like I said, hognoses are fossorial, so they burrow a lot, they spend a lot of time underground, but they do still know how to climb. They're not super great at it. Their bodies are quite a bit chunkier than other snakes, like they're more stout. They're not quite as muscular. They're not a constrictor species, so they don't quite have the same muscles to like shimmy up a tree like the actual arboreal snakes could, but they can still climb. With Fossil, he loves just climbing on top of one of his temperature probes or something, or if I have some piece of decor really close to the wall, he'll try to climb on top of it, and then he just will scale the wall sometimes. Not in a he's stressed out and trying to escape way. He just likes being up high sometimes. But it's funny because he's not super great at it. So he'll be on top of something, and then he'll go up to the wall, and then he'll just see how straight up he can go. But eventually, he can't hold himself up completely rod straight, so he kind of just starts to sway, and then he just does a very gentle timber and plop. He never hurts himself. Like, he has enough muscles that it's not like a whoa, like a abrupt fall. It's just oh, here I go, slow motion, and plop. And then he just wanders over and explores something else. So those are the fun facts inspired by A Snake Falls to Earth. And now, time for A Drop of Venom. Okay, real quick, I realized I forgot to show you guys the bookmark I've been using this whole time. It's like a glass pendant, and inside I put some of Fossil's shed. That is from Fossil's second ever shed, with me that has the like clip part and then it goes over the book. I'll be honest, not my favorite type of bookmark, but I'll show some close-ups because it catches the light kind of funny. I picked this one specifically because he has this little heart-shaped splotch in it that I think is super cute. I just thought for the fossil-themed video, I'd use my fossil snake shed bookmark. Good morning. I've just gotten out of the shower, as you could probably guess, so I wanted to update you on A Drop of Venom so far. I'm on chapter 11, page 125. So not that far into it, but far enough into it that I have some thoughts. I said in the beginning that all I knew about this was it was an Indian-inspired Medusa retelling. And while that is true, it is so much more than that and more distanced than that. Our main character is a girl named Manisha, I think is how you pronounce it. She is one of the Naga, and it opens with her people being hunted, fleeing for her life while her family is just being viciously attacked. There's a lot of families being attacked. Like, this is quite a violent book, but the monsters aren't always the bad guy. The bad guy is whoever is attacking the innocent people. And I really like that. I find a lot of times it's either humans are good, monsters are bad, or they'll flip it on its head and it's humans are the real monsters, the monsters are the good guys. This is just, I don't care who you are, if you're hurting people, you're bad. Because our main character is a Naga, and she's in disguise living among the humans as a priestess. And the other point of view is a monster slayer. And I was worried that he would be so unlikable as a soldier, as somebody who's killing monsters, when our main point of view is a monster. But it's done really well. I feel like he questions things a healthy amount. He still does them because he has no choice. Like, he's in servitude to the king. At this point, he has no freedom of his own. But it doesn't mean that he's just going to go around thoughtlessly killing things. There's one scene where he's attacking this like monster that's made out of bees, and then he goes into the cave and sets fire to the cave, and her babies are in there, like the larva. And he has this moment of guilt because he's setting fire to the whole cave. But then he rations, well, if she's killing all these people and she's raising these babies to kill these innocent people, is it okay to kill them too, even though they're just babies? And he doesn't have an answer. He's like, well, it's too late, it's happening. I'll grapple with my feelings later. So he's not necessarily always in the right, but he's not blindly following order. So it makes him more likable. I will say, sexual assault, big theme of the story so far. It is inspired by Medusa, but it's not as graphic on the page as I thought it would be. Because this book is very, like, detailed in a good way. I felt like there was a respectful amount of distance. Like, we knew exactly what was happening. They call it what it is. They call it rape. But you don't get a play-by-play. And there's a whole little introduction at the starting of the book on why explore these themes in a YA novel. Because some people, they say, well, this is sexual content. This shouldn't be portrayed in books that my children are reading. Who do you think is getting abused? Who do you think the victims are? And in the introduction, that is specifically addressed, like the statistics for how often this happens, for how often it happens to young people, for how often it happens to queer people, especially queer young people, how common that is. And it talks about resources. I really love that while this book does a great job so far of talking about it, we don't have to relive it at every moment. That's my impression so far. Like I said, I'm only like a third of the way in. But I really think that that line is told really well, especially for a YA novel. So I have really enjoyed what we got so far. She just got kicked out of the temple and now she is on her way to find something else. And that's where I stopped. So I'm really excited to keep going. I think I'm at a really good stopping point that I want to see what happens next. Overall, I wish I would have planned my time better so I had more time to read this in the vlog. But like I said in the last clip, I am just running a little bit too close to the deadline for this video. So unfortunately that's as far as I got into it, but I will continue reading it, and when I do my wrap up or recent reads, probably at the end of this month, then I will let you know my final thoughts. But I have been thinking about my fun facts for this one. I've been brainstorming. This one is mostly inspired by the title, A Drop of Venom. Hognoses are technically venomous, but their venom is so wimpy and pathetic that a lot of places that will specifically ban venomous snakes or things like that don't consider them venomous enough to be grouped in with the actual venomous snakes. Their venom is very weak, especially to humans, and it's hard to inject. So as far as the strength of the venom goes, unless you're specifically allergic to their venom, it's about as damaging as a bee sting is what it's usually compared to. So it's not going to cause any actual damage. But because hognoses are rear-fanged, you have to be kind of deep in their mouth for them to even be able to inject their venom. And because hognoses are so small, they usually have to chew you for a few minutes to be able to inject their venom properly. I watched this experiment. I don't think it was an official experiment. It was kind of just a bunch of hognose owners hanging out. So I don't know how scientific it was, but they were basically testing how long it took for the hognose to actually properly envenomate. And I think the average was 8 minutes or something like that. So they had to bite you, and then they have to crawl their teeth forward enough to be able to get their rear fangs in and actually inject the venom that you would probably have time to stop them. So even though technically they do produce a venom, it's a wimpy venom and they're not good at injecting it. But that ties into my fossil fun fact, which is that he has never bitten anyone in his life. He hasn't even tried. When he was still a baby, a few times he bluff struck at me. It's just a strike with their mouth closed. It's more just to startle you. It's like if someone went up and went, "What?" That's what it is. What? You know, they're not actually hitting you, they're not trying to strike you, they're just trying to make you flinch. That's what a bluff strike is. And he's done that to me twice. But it was when I first got him, he was still very nervous, he didn't understand what was going on. He just saw a giant hand coming into his enclosure and got startled. Fair. It's like a very aggressive nose boop. That's the worst he's done. He's never even tried, he's never even lunged at me with his mouth open. He's just a very respectful young man. Speaking of Fossil, I was just about to go get him to film the outro together, but he is sleeping and he's in his hidey house. And that's my one rule, is I don't bother him while he's in his hide, because that's supposed to feel like safety to him. So unfortunately, Fossil is gonna sit out for this one. I'll include pictures and clips of him, just so he's kind of here. If you got this far into the vlog, leave a snake emoji as a comment, or in your comment if you have something to say, which I would love. If you've read any of these books, if you want to read any of these books, I'd love to hear that. And what are your thoughts on snakes? Even if you don't like snakes, if you watch this far into the video, I'm curious to hear your thoughts and why you feel that way. And if you do love snakes, gush about snakes. I would love that too. But all in all, I had a really fun time reading these books. And it was just fun to have a theme and just be surrounded by snake things for a couple of days. I got to read a book I really liked, I got to read a book I absolutely adored, and I got to start a book that I am very excited to finish. So I'd call that a success, even though I didn't plan my time super well. Next time, I think I just need to give myself more time, because this is a reoccurring pattern that I have of running out of time with reading vlogs specifically. So maybe I'll learn my lesson. Or not. We'll find out in the next reading vlog. But that will be it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, please hit the like button to let me know, and subscribe to stay up to date with the rest of my videos. I post new videos once a week, usually reading or writing related. So I hope to see you guys next time, and until then, have a great day. Bye!